It's Lionel Messi! He scored! The goal the world wanted! It's time for the biggest sports stories.
It's Neymar trying to feed it through. It's a stretch and it's in. And I can't remember the last time I saw something like this. Extraordinary scenes.
The biggest interviews.
It's more difficult. Obviously, it's more difficult.
And all the analysis right here.
If they play poorly, they've come back, they've got all the excuses. You can't have it both ways.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
It's the biggest show in the world of sport, ZiFM Sport on Thursday evening. It's our shortened show. It's 30 minutes long, but it is Throwback Thursday in terms of the music selection. The stories remain current because we update you as to what's happening in the world of sport. Today, on the home front, we've got cricket news. The Zimbabwe Chevrons fine-tuned their preparations for the International Cricket Council ICC Cricket World Cup qualifiers with a 5-wicket win over Papua New Guinea in a warm-up match at the Bulawayo Athletic Club. In motorsport, the 2018 Zimbabwe motor racing season revs off at the home of local motorsport. That, of course, is Donnybrook Raceway in Harare on Sunday with the staging of the opening round of the 7-round National Championship main circuit. And in football news, according to sources, Dynamos have virtually closed the door on Denver Mukamba following revelations that coach Lloyd Mutasa, with the backing of the club executive, is not interested in the player services.
We go international to cricket, where Australia find itself in the uncomfortable position of 225 for 5 after a seesawing contest on the first day of the first test in Durban. In rugby, Bulls coach John Mitchell has named an unchanged squad to face the Lions in their Super Rugby clash at Loftus Versfeld on Saturday. Rassie Erasmus has been named as the new Springbok coach, and in tennis, Britain's Andy Murray is planning to return to the practice court towards the end of March and could be back in action before the grass court season.
It's a shortened show, but we still have our Zolprime Fibronics play of the day. Throwback Thursday, we're going back into time today, and then we dive into the beautiful game where in the Premier League, Vincent Kompany has warned that wounded Arsenal could represent Manchester City's toughest game of the season so far, despite the side's Carabao Cup final mismatch at the weekend. In La Liga news, Antoine Griezmann has continued his hot streak for Atletico Madrid by scoring his 100th goal for the club in all competitions following Los Rojiblancos 4-0 demolition of Leganes last night. Coppa Italia, AC Milan coach Gennaro Gattuso refused to take all the plaudits for his side's resurgence after guiding them to the Coppa Italia final last night. And we refuse to take all the plaudits because you're tuned into ZiFM Stereo. Thanks to all those who came before us, and of course DJ Munya and Queen Shumba.
The Home Front. Local sports news and analysis.
We start on the home front with cricket, where the Zimbabwe Chevrons fine-tuned their preparations for the ICC Cricket World Cup qualifier with a 5-wicket win over Papua New Guinea in a warm-up match played at the Bulawayo Athletic Club. Papua New Guinea batting first, 195 all-out. Vanny Moore 58, Tendai Chisoro 2 for 22, Blessing Muzarabani 2 for 22 as well. Zimbabwe 195 for 5, Hamilton Masakadza retiring on 54, Brendan Taylor retiring on 52. So a comfortable win for the Zimbabwe Chevrons ahead of their opening game on Sunday.
One that was expected. I would think Papua New Guinea never expected to pose any sort of challenge to the Chevrons. That we lost 5 wickets again is not a cause for concern, because you think to yourself, the boys were opening up, they were trying to put their skates on, get their eye in, get the clear the rope and all sorts. So chances are they were going to take a few chances in that one.
Yeah, absolutely. But I must say there was another game today that was very, very interesting, and that was West Indies and UAE. Because West Indies was skittled out for like 115. I think it was 115, and UAE were bowled out for 95.
Was that UAE West Indies primary school? Yikes! What an interesting game. But listen, can't read too much in these warm-up games. Obviously, it's fine-tuning and all sorts. When we get to the qualifiers proper, I think we're going to see a lot more competitive cricket, and hopefully our Chevrons will be fine-tuned enough to deliver the goods for the country. We're all backing our boys. Come on, you Chevrons.
Hi, this is Alexandra Maseko, and I'm the national basketball team captain, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
As you can tell, we're putting our skates on just like the Chevrons were doing against Papua New Guinea to get through all of the sports news, and there's lots of it happening. So let's wrap up our local sports news roundup with this news that in motorsport, the 2018 Zimbabwe motor racing season revs off at the home of local motorsport, Donnybrook Raceway in Harare on Sunday, with the staging of the opening round of the 7-round National Championships main circuit. This season promises to be bigger and better than the previous one, as the sport has managed to retain most of its traditional sponsors, with more promising to come on board, and spectator numbers are expected to increase, largely due to the acceptance of plastic money. And in football news, according to sources, Dynamos have virtually closed the door on Denver Mukamba following revelations that coach Lloyd Mutasa, with the backing of the club executive, is not interested in the player's services. Sources say Dynamos could be forced to splash about $40,000 to terminate the contract of midfielder Denver Mukamba. The events came just a day after the Glamour Boys had appeared to open their doors for the rehabilitation of Mukamba. And staying with football, the Premier Soccer League issued a press statement saying Howmine Football Club has withdrawn from the Premier Soccer League. The PSL Emergency Committee resolved to replace Howmine with Harare City Football Club, which finished in 15th position in the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League last season. I know we touched on it briefly yesterday about the scenario of Denver Mukamba. Yes, we spoke about the Howmine situation, but I just want to jump back onto the Denver Mukamba situation there at Dynamos and talk about the 40,000 payout that they might need to pay. Is that worth it? I mean, I think that the boy still has something to offer at Dynamos if rehabilitated, because when he's on the field of play and he's on song, this is some player.
He is indeed a good player, but when you are behaving the way he is behaving, he doesn't give you what you believe that he can give, you know. But I'm not sure about the calculations. I'm not sure how they came up with the $40,000.
It's probably the remainder of his contract or whatever.
I thought he signed a 2-year contract,
meaning that he's got a year
left. A year left, and I don't know how it gets to $40,000.
Yeah, perhaps also bonuses put on there.
No, bonuses are not.
No, his signing on bonus.
Or signing on fees, yes.
Signing on fees that he
talking
didn't.
about winning bonuses. They
No.
be part of,
his signing on fees, he possibly not paid by Dynamos as yet, so that would be a lump sum amount.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I need to find out exactly how this amount get to $40,000. But you know, let's be honest. Yeah, he could also find himself in breach somewhere along the way, and he might go with zilch. Do
we do that in local football? Because what you're alluding to there is a good behaviour clause, and we know players like Mario Balotelli, certainly when he signed his Liverpool contract, had to sign a good behaviour clause. Do we do that in local football? I mean, are our contracts that airtight?
Yes, it's a fine print. It's actually in there that you have to behave to the best of your to the best professionally you can be. You have to be the best professional you can be. Right. There's a very fine print about behavior, and also to be professional and not to breach and all that. And if they go down into the thin print of that contract, he might be found wanting, and he might actually walk with nothing if he indeed breached the contract. Because, you know, that's why you are supposed to go to training every day. Yeah. They must lock you up. It's contractual. Lock you out, but you still have to arrive.
Attend, exactly.
You have to attend. They will make you not to train, but you still come back tomorrow and attend training. You know, make sure that you don't breach yourself, so that you stick on the straight and narrow, so that when you claim, you know, you are on a safe side. I don't know, but we'll see how it pans out. But I've in Zimbabwean football, I've never seen a player that has been compensated for a termination of contract. Tichawana Chipunza left for Ngezi Platinum,
and he still hasn't paid
his own signing on fee. Now you can imagine this case scenario. Yeah, you know,
it's a tough one. Looks like this one could go long and deep into the night, and also could involve quite a few legal eagles. No doubt the lawyers are sharpening their pencils and getting ready to defend Denver Mukamba, and the other side trying to defend Dynamos Football Club. This is ZiFM Sport. When we get back, we'll be talking South Africa versus Australia, and also what's happening in South African rugby. Pause will let us know.
Here we go again.
Enjoy world-class radio online. ZiFM Stereo is available on TuneIn. Search for ZiFM Stereo and you got it.
International Sports News Roundup, where the world comes out to play.
Around the
the world in 60 seconds. International sports news.
We start in South Africa, where Australia finds itself in an uncomfortable position on 225 for 5 after ensuing contest on the first day of the first test in Durban today. The Aussie batsmen struggled to find their feet on the sluggish, uneven Kingsmead deck, but dug in to make the Proteas bowlers work hard for their wickets. Steve Smith scored 56, David Warner 51, and Sean Marsh 40, all getting starts for the tourists, but none of them were able to go on and reach their hundreds. Staying in South Africa, Bulls coach John Mitchell named an unchanged squad to face the Lions in their Super Rugby clash at Loftus Versfeld on Saturday. The Bulls opened their campaign with a 21-19 win over the Hurricanes last weekend. The same 23 players will again take the field for this big derby. South Africa have appointed ex-player Rassie Erasmus as head coach until the end of the 2023 Rugby World Cup. The 45-year-old, who will also continue to work as director of rugby, takes over from Alistair Coetzee, who left his post last month following a falling out with SA Rugby. Erasmus capped 36 times, had a stint as Munster director of rugby before returning to South Africa in 2017. Across to the UK, Britain's Andy Murray is planning to return to the practice courts towards the end of March and could be back in action before the grass court season. The 30-year-old, who had hip surgery on the 8th of January, has not played a competitive match since Wimbledon last year. The early stages of his rehabilitation are going well, according to those close to the former world number one. And in news coming out of the US, Britain's Anthony Joshua is a cash cow being milked by his promoter. Eddie Hearn says fellow world heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder. WBC champion Wilder thinks Joshua, who has the IBF and WBA belts, does not have the confidence to fight him.
Zimbabwe's finest free. ZiFM Stereo. The big leagues, the big teams, the big players. The beautiful game on ZiFM Sport.
The ZiFM Sports team are proudly dressed by Adidas in a sale not to be missed at the Ideal Range Adidas Concept Store in Zimbabwe, in Harare, Sam Levy's Village and the Village Walk. Two shops, both in Borrowdale. Soccer boots, rugby boots, gym kits, selected items up to 60% off while stocks last.
Mate, I hopped into the store today and I was looking at the Adidas kicks, and particularly since it's Throwback Thursday, particularly the old school Adidas trainers, the prices on those are absolutely stunning. Haven't picked up a pair yet, but probably tomorrow.
Good man.
All right, what are we carrying on? Okay, all right.
Yep.
Crack straight on. Get into the beautiful game, shall we?
Let's get into it. Come on,
So
man.
let's talk Vincent Kompany. Now, Vincent Kompany has warned that wounded Arsenal could represent Manchester City's toughest game of the season so far, despite the side's Carabao Cup final mismatch at the weekend. City face the Gunners in the Premier League tonight, just days after easing past them 3-0 at Wembley to claim the first trophy of Pep Guardiola's Etihad reign. Kompany has warned his teammates to be braced for a backlash similar to that he vividly recalls from 2016, when a League Cup final triumph over Liverpool was swiftly followed by a 3-0 defeat. Bunj, you reckon this is possible? I saw an Arsenal that was abject over the weekend. Granted, it was a cup final, but you'd have thought they would have been up for it. Can they be up for it when only 3 points are up for grabs?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I actually think that Manchester City are going to be fired up for this one. I believe that, Pep Guardiola wants to grab this in style. He wants to finish off this championship in style, with a lot of games to spare and all that. I think that's what he's looking at. And every 3 points is very massive for him.
And pause, the thing is with Pep Guardiola, he's never satisfied. And we've heard Vincent Kompany actually declare it, that it's never a pats on the back with him. As soon as they get a victory, it's great work, now we go again. And it looks like that's the sort of side that he's built now that just wants more and more. And I don't think tonight is going to be any different.
No, not at all. And like Bunch said, I think they're going to be extremely fired up. Even after that cup final win this last weekend, they're going to come out all guns blazing tonight, even with a few injuries. No Raheem Sterling, no Fernandinho. For me, I don't even think it will make any difference. Yes, Arsenal will have Henrik Mkhitaryan back because he's not cup tied, so he can play in the league matches. But I'm afraid to say, as much as our producer just loves his beloved Gunners, I'm just afraid to say that this could be a good hiding for Arsenal tonight.
Hiding. And Bunj, you talked
at
about
least 3-0.
You talked about finishing it in style, Bunj. And here's the thing: if they get 3 points tonight, it would move them 16 points ahead of their closest challengers, and that's Manchester United. That is stunning at this time in the season. Usually, this is the business end of the season. We only got a few games to go. Chances are this is when you're fighting for the championship. But this one looks all wrapped up.
Yeah, this one is just a one-horse race. Let's be honest here. It's going one way, and one way Manchester City way, and the rest of the clubs, they are fighting for number 2.
Yeah.
I'm glad that the
number 2 is Manchester United.
But like you said, that Pep is not one to be satisfied. My goodness, I watched the Manchester City under-19s playing.
Right.
Oh my God, there
Same
is
team.
a monster. There is a monster that is being manufactured at Manchester City. Trust me.
This is a legacy
Guardiola
project,
he's up to something. It's a legacy project that is going on. He's not there for just 1 year, 2 seasons. He is actually there to dominate English football for a long time. And from what I saw, it's going to happen.
Right, let's go to La Liga, where Antonio Griezmann continued his hot streak for Atletico Madrid by scoring his 100th goal for the club in all competitions following their 4-0 demolition of Leganés last night. The France international hit a hat-trick against Sevilla on Sunday to move on to 99 strikes for Atletico, who sit second in the La Liga table behind leaders Barcelona, and the 26-year-old brought up 3 figures after 26 minutes of last night's home game against Leganés, running on to Koke's precise through ball to score. Other results from last night: Athletic Club 1, Valencia 1, Getafe 3, Deportivo La Coruña 0, Malaga 0, Sevilla 1, Eibar 1, Villarreal 0. Tonight it's Real Betis against Real Sociedad, Las Palmas up against Barcelona, Deportivo Alves will take on Levante, and we certainly look forward to Sunday's game when Barcelona will take on Atletico Madrid.
All right, let's wrap it up in Italy in the Coppa Italia, where AC Milan coach Gennaro Gattuso refused to take all the plaudits for his side's resurgence after guiding them to the Coppa Italia final last night. Milan beat Lazio on a 5-4 penalties to set up a showdown with Juventus on the 9th of May. But Gattuso said it was not all down to him. Juventus stuttered to victory but kept themselves on course for a 4th consecutive Coppa Italia title, as Miralem Pjanic's penalty gave them a 1-0 win, resulting in a 2-0 aggregate victory over Atalanta. We touched on it briefly, and now we got a good chance of talking about Gennaro Gattuso and his impact at your team, the team that you like in Italy,
My team.
AC Milan.
Yeah.
What a transformation, eh?
Yeah, I think the players have responded to him. He started badly as well.
He
started on
did
the back
exactly.
foot. And
We thought it wasn't going to go the right way.
Going to last, yes. But things just clicked. I think the players responded, and I think he brought them into his philosophy, and they like what he's doing to them. And I think it's all to do with psychology. It's the psychology of it, because we also wrote them out or wrote them off that they are no hopers for this season. But look at them now. So probably for me, it's more psychology than his coaching pedigree. I wouldn't want to take it away from him, but I think it's more motivation than anything else.
But motivation, you think? Because listen, he's got to have some tactical news as well.
Yes, that's why I don't want to take that away from him. But I actually think it's more responding to his coaching methods than anything else.
But what I want to find out from you is that, and we know that he, on the field of play, he was always a communicator. He was always a hard worker, and those elements work very well for you when you go into your coaching days, because we've seen it happen with Pep Guardiola. Same thing, as a player, hard worker, very astute at learning the game. It rubs off on the players. Is this the case with Gennaro Gattuso, or, as you say, is it just that bounce of having a club legend at the side telling you the things that you've seen him do on the field of play?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. It's actually working for him. Being a club legend also is a very big plus. And I think also his methods of coaching. As long as players don't respond to your methods of coaching, you might be as good as you can be, but you're done. You're not going to succeed. Yeah. You need the players to buy into your philosophy, buy into your methods, and when they do that and they respond to you, and you also need to have that friendship kind of thing with the players. They need to love you. If they don't, you'll be out of there with.
Well, the Rossoneri will be taking on the Old Lady of Turin, as you heard, on the 9th of May in the Coppa Italia. Should be an exciting one. We are done for the day. We're back tomorrow for our preview show. It's brought to you by Africa Bet. Don't miss it. May God richly bless you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Manande, out.
Be sure to catch ZiFM Sport every weekday on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.